Alright, so what we're going to do is show you how to set up a belay system at the base of a tree. This is so that if you're ascending the tree, all you have to do is pull up your slack and someone will attend the knot at the base of the tree for you. So there's a couple things that you're going to need. You're going to need your safety snap, captive eye, or regular carabiner that you're going to tie to the termination end of your rope, which is what you're going to be tied into. You're going to need a twisted carabiner and a micro pulley, which the grounds person on the ground is going to tend your knot with. So first thing that you're going to do is take the termination, first thing you're going to do is make sure that you have a good tie-in point. You're then going to take the termination end of your rope and your captive eye, and you can do one of two things. You can do a retrace date, or you can capture the captive eye in a bite and do your figure eight like that. Now, I would recommend doing a retrace date because you guys are going to need to know how to do this for your double tie-in, and it's just good practice. Now, you notice that you have a little bit of a tail there. If you ever find yourself with too much of a tail, one thing you can do is do a quick fisherman. Doesn't need to be a double, doesn't need to be a triple. You can just do a single fisherman, and that captures that tail end and keeps it out of your face. The other thing that you might want to think about is if you want to expedite the process of tying in when you get to the top, if you give yourself enough tail, enough to tie your friction hitch, you can do the exact same thing, tie a quick fisherman, keep it out of your way, and then once you get up to the top, just quickly untie the fisherman, and then you have enough tail to tie your friction hitch at the top. So now that we've got our termination point set, we're going to put that off to the side. You're going to take the other end of the rope and you're going to create a clove hitch around the base of the tree. So just remember, you're going to be going underneath to start with. Go around again, over top. Make sure everything's aligned. You're going to keep that side open as you go around the second time, and that's where you're going to pass your rope through. Now when you tie this at the end, you're going to have to leave yourself enough tail to tie a friction hitch. You're going to tie a taut line, and that's what's going to be tied to the standing end of their rope, and that's what you're going to be capturing. So just remember, clove hitch is a rolling hitch. If you find yourself with not enough tail, just roll it around and give yourself some more. Factor in that you're going to have to do 2 half hitches. And you're not going to need as much as an arm's length for this because you're going to want next to no bridge. So, tighten it up, do your 2 half hitches. Okay. So there's the tail of your rope that you're going to capture the standing end of their rope with and create that taut line. Now normally when we tie a taut line or a Blake's hitch, we want some type of bridge. But we don't want them to, when you advance the pulley and tend their line, to have any slack. So you're going to tie your taut line, 1, 2, 1, 2, okay? And when you tie that taut line, remember we talked about adjusting the bridge? You're going to adjust the bridge so it's very, very tight. So there's going to be next to no bridge. I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, so we have very little bridge there. We're going to put in our stopper knot. Okay, our figure eight, single figure eight. Now, as that person's climbing, you're going to be tending their line with a micro pulley. So this is where your micro pulley and your twisted carabiner come in. You're going to want to make sure you put this on the right side of your 2 half hitches. So if you're going to be standing off to this side, then put it on this side of the half hitches. If you're going to be standing over there, put it on that side. It's gonna prevent you pulling the rope off to the side and rubbing it against the side plates of that micro pulley and causing more friction than need be. So when you put this twisted carabiner in, make sure you capture both parts of that rope on the clove hitch. Roll it over. Notice that this is a screw gate, it's not an auto locker. Reason being, you're not using it for life support. All you're doing is tending the rope with it, and all you're doing is holding the micro pulley. So, micro pulley is going to go underneath that friction hitch on the standing end of the rope. Make sure that you put it in properly so that when you pull it, it's not pulling against the side plates. So make sure it's not twisted around. It's not necessary to tighten up the screw gate, but it never hurts. It's always good practice. So now, as they start to climb, you can pull, and that tends their knot. Just remember, before you start ascending, you're going to want to have that climber sit back and test that knot. And you're also going to notice that as it tightens up, your bridge is going to expand a little bit. So if you need to do any adjustments now, you want to make sure that you have as little bridge as possible. Because as they go up, as you're tending their line, and if they have a very large bridge and they go to sit back, they're going to sit back into all that slack. So you want them to sit back and you want it to be snug. Another thing to keep in mind is you want this system low to the ground as possible so that you have as much mechanical advantage with that pulley and that you can tend the knot when they want to come down. You don't want that waist height or chest height on the tree. You also want to make sure that your clove hitch is very tight. So again, make sure that there's very little bridge. Make sure that you've set your knot before the climber starts to ascend the tree. And if in the event that you want to expedite the process by tying in when you get to the top, leave yourself enough tail and just tuck it away with a single or a double fisherman.